on Instagram. Yes. Awesome. So, hi guys. My name is Simar. I am live with Ramya today. You might have seen her poem "Have You Met My Feminism" a couple of days ago on our channel. Today, we're going to be talking about that poem, about your journey with poetry and what you've been doing with spoken word. So, firstly, tell me about how did you start spoken word and how long have you been doing it for?
I think I've been writing for gazillion years because I've been on the planet since basically dinosaurs walked the earth. But open mics, I think I heard about open mics first in 2009. And at that time, it was very different. There was maybe one open mic in the entire city that happened once a month. And it was just people coming up and reading literally from their diaries or the big clunky laptops that people would carry, some people would carry at that time.
Okay.
But I think somewhere around 2014, 15, suddenly there was a lot more interest in open mics. And that's when I started attending all of them and writing and also thinking about presenting rather than just reading out. And yeah, that's where it all began, and it just kind of took off, and Andheres happened.
So when did you write this poem? Have you met my feminism?
This poem was written in we're in 2019 now, so sometime around 2015 is when I wrote this, but
Okay.
it's gone through a number of iterations since then. And of course, this video was also recorded in 2017,
Right.
the first Anire show.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been an evolution. I think with every performance, you sort of learn a little more about the piece that you're writing or performing, and it's constantly a work in progress.
So and what is the so the central theme I think was sort of were you going for like some satire, some sarcasm, trying to, because it seems like a very fun poem, but you're touching upon some very serious topics through it as well, right?
True. To be completely honest, I never anticipated that this poem of all things would come this far.
Okay.
Of course, when I wrote it, I didn't even imagine that poetry would be something that people would enjoy, and there would be YouTube videos and viral stars and things like that about it. And of all things, I wouldn't have thought this piece because I didn't really at that point of time put in as much thought. What did happen is, like I said, very early days of open mics, there would be maybe 6 or 7 people in the room and a very small room, and all of us knew each other. So it was literally like we were all sitting around a table and we would take turns. अभी तू जा तेरा टर्न अभी तू भी एक पढ़ ले मैं भी एक पढ़ लेती हूँ and 1 minute मैं बाद में जाती हूँ मैं खा रही हूँ, that kind of a thing. It was very casual, and there were very few women then. Very often I was the only woman in the room, and it was fine, we were all friends, but still I was the only woman in the room. And the few times there'd be a woman, another performer, or someone who's just reading out what they'd written, often it would be very angry, and they'd be sharing some experience of deep hurt and pain, which is okay because if you are a woman, then you possibly come through a lot of silencing and a lot of you have to come home at a certain time, you can't go alone to this place and things like that. So when there is a chance for something to come out, it's very often very painful and angsty. And my problem was that most people around thought that that's what feminism was, or that's all feminism was. The assumption, and I think a lot of people even today think that feminism is all about hating men. And that assumption didn't work for me because that's a very tight and small box, and it's a very unhappy box. And I looked at my life and I said, hey, I'm fun. I mean, Simar, back me up on this. You've known me for a few years. I'm fun, am I not? I can be fun. So, and I'm a feminist. So I said, what can I do about it? All I can do is put it into my piece. And I want people to think of feminism, at least one part of feminism. I want them to also remember that some parts of it are also people like me. Not just people like me, but moments like this, which are funny and fun and relatable. It's not all about, a lot of angst and pain. Though that is part of it.
Right.
So,
and I think it's also very important to sort of channel your anger and your pain in a certain way. And I feel that's the beauty of poems like these, where you are talking about slut shaming, fat shaming, you speak about a lot of different, very serious things,
Yeah.
but the way you speak about them does not seem like very preachy. You know what I mean? And I think that's something very interesting with this poem, and why it's connected with so many people. Someone just asked a question: what tips do you have for performance for someone who's just starting out?
Practice. Write every day. Go back and read what you've written. Speak to the mirror. Read it out to the mirror. Read it out to your family, friends. जो भी मिलता है उसको बिठा के force them to sit and listen to this, because I'm sure Simar will also, and this is Simar, okay, father of Anires and all that, but we all get better with every performance we do, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
So, and please do it, because the world needs more poetry. So the world
Definitely.
needs your voice as well.
Definitely, that's great advice. A lot of people are coming in saying they're big fans of the poem. They loved your work. They love your lipstick.
Thank you.
Someone's
Please
asking.
see. I'm going to come in closer so you can see. It's a little teda, but
No,
I
I
put
think
in a lot of
it's
effort
good.
on it. So,
Someone is asking, what is your advice on dealing with body shaming?
okay. So this is not a simple question,
Yeah.
but
Maybe you can share from your experiences if that's something you're comfortable with. Or...
yes, absolutely. So here's the thing: there are 7 billion people on this planet, and more getting added every minute. There are as many definitions of beauty as there are people in the world. But for various reasons, most of us are forced to sit inside very, very limiting definitions which say that you have to look this way, you have to be a certain height, a certain size, a certain color. And that's not okay, because obviously most of us are not born perfect like that, and there are all other kinds of, there are lots of ways in which we are beautiful. It seems very simple and easy for me to say this, because I do fit some of those notions, but there are other things I don't fit. For instance, I am aware that I'm a thin person, and I have thin person privilege. That is a real thing. But I'm also a dark skinned person, and I live in a country where this color is not permissible. I think there is a lot, I have a lot of respect for the people who are actively going out and championing body positivity. In addition to that, I think something we can all do for ourselves is just force yourself to feel really good about yourself. And sometimes it's literally about saying, the world doesn't know what's inside me, and what's inside me is the truth of who I am. And that is beautiful. I'm going to live inside this body for the rest of my life. So, ये मेरा घर है. So, ये घर अच्छा है. It is my. It's okay that I'm speaking Hindi and English,
हाँ
right? So,
पक्का. I'm sure कुछ लोगों को हिंदी में बात करने में ज़्यादा better लगता है. Someone saying you're looking like Kangana.
I'll take that as a
I
compliment.
think it's a compliment.
Thank you. I don't have her hair though.
Yeah.
Her hair when she
This is an interesting haircut. Someone just said, I like your hairstyle.
Thank you.
Okay, there's an interesting question which I also feel personally, I don't know how to go about it. How do you deal with someone, or what do you say to someone who says that they don't believe in feminism or they don't agree with the notions of feminism?
So there's a lot of people who say that,
Yeah.
especially online.
Definitely.
And there are a lot of people who think that and show that in their actions offline,
Right.
even if they don't say it in so many ways. There's no easy solution to this. It goes on a case-to-case basis. I'll tell you what I do now. For my own sanity, I look at the person in front of me and make a call whether I want to invest my time and effort in engaging with that person. I have to do that because there are thousands of people online, and there are lots of people in my world also who don't necessarily agree with me. But if this is someone, if this is a friend, for instance, or a family member, or somebody who I feel I want in my life, then I'm going to spend some time trying to understand why they're coming from that point of view. And I don't think there is value in saying, "Aap galat ho. What is wrong with you?" And just this is not okay. it's not going to benefit, right? Nobody likes to be attacked like that. And if I'm very strong in my belief in feminism, similarly, other people are strong in their belief, whatever the reasoning for that is. I find most people don't actually understand what feminism is.
Right.
They assume that feminism is about hating men. And obviously, if I was a man, I would also be opposed to an ideology that is about hating me and my type.
Right.
Which is why, when possible, that is why I'm very happy that this poem came out, because it's really important to me. It really bothers me when people seem to hate feminists when they don't really realize what feminism is. And I think if I can show you how much power there is in living like this, and in the people around me who do support my living like this, then there is no reason you would oppose feminism.
Right. Definitely.
I don't know if that completely answers your question, but
no, but I think in a way people do get an idea. I also feel maybe in the longest way, for the longest time, people have not really, as you mentioned, understood feminism that well. And a lot of people digitally who engage in these conversations are just there for the sake of trolling. So, personally, I feel for my sanity, I try to first understand if this person is a troll or someone actually
yeah.
who wants to learn, and only then. And I don't usually engage with a lot of people in these conversations. But if you would have to tell people, we have some around, if say 100 people watching right now, how would you explain feminism in the easiest way as a concept? Someone who is completely ignorant of it.
Sure. So feminism is essentially just the thought that every life form, every human life form, every life form deserves some fundamental things. Now, what are these fundamental things? Consent is very important, and this is consent over so many areas of our life, and we don't even think about how many areas lots of human beings don't have consent. They don't have the right to live the kind of lives they do. This could be the right to choosing the partner they want to be with, the right to dress the way they want to, the right to live where they want to eat what they want to profess the religion they want to. So consent goes into a bunch of different things. In addition to that, safety, security, education where possible. I hate to say where possible, but really we know we live in a country where that's not entirely, even basic food and shelter is not a reality for a lot of people. So education is the next level. But feminism comes down to every human being, regardless of what their body looks like, what their gender is, what their sex is, what their sexuality is, what their religion is, what their body type is, which means are they differently abled, do they look a certain way, are they from a certain region, do they speak a certain language. Regardless of all these factors, every human life has the right to these fundamental rights. That's sort of the broadest definition of feminism that I can think of.
Definitely. That's great. I think there's a lot to learn from, and it's you're evolving continuously.
Absolutely.
And I think we were having the discussion that day also.
True.
About how if you wrote that poem today, there were so many more things that you would have said.
Absolutely. I was very incidentally, when Simar mentioned he wanted to go up with this, my first concern was, I don't remember what I said 2 years ago, and I'm sure I may have said things that were either wrong or inadequate. I definitely know that this poem also is very, very inadequate in terms of everything there is about feminism. And there are lots of groups of people who may feel like I hadn't included them, and if anyone from that group is watching, I do want to say I apologize. I was not aware at that time, I was not conscious or sensitive, and that is my problem.
Right.
But it is, like Simar said, it's a constantly evolving journey. Every day, every conversation, I learn something. Incidentally, I forgot to mention, feminism is also regardless of age. So if I start saying Simar is only a teenager, you can't do anything, you're not, you don't know anything, that's actually just really silly, because am I allowed to tell your age, Simar?
Yeah.
Okay. So this young man has achieved so much more than I did at that age.
Not really. But yeah, I also had another question. Do you have any advice for someone who, say, is more privileged than a certain community of people, like say a straight man or a cis straight man, or probably even a upper class homosexual man,
Right.
people who are in ways more privileged than a lot of
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
How do you think they can contribute to this conversation, and in what way can they be allies to sort of struggles that they have not lived,
Yeah.
but they would want to sort of be a part of that movement in a way?
I think it should definitely start with, and this is you're also talking about us.
Yeah.
The fact that we are on the internet itself means we are in a certain privileged minority in this country. It starts with educate yourself. Educate yourself on what are the issues that people who don't have as much as you are facing. Most people are not even aware of their privilege. A lot of men I know are not even aware of their gender privilege. A lot of upper caste people I know, definitely it is, they are just not aware, they don't even see it. First of all, it's important to acknowledge that, and by acknowledge I don't mean just pay lip service and say, ha, theek, I'm privileged. What does it actually mean? Now, with something like gender, it's reasonably visible. You know that, let's say we sit here till 3 in the morning, it's going to be easier for you to get home than for me to. I'll have to worry a little more about certain safety things. That is a very visible gender privilege. But there are other things such as body type privilege, religion privilege, caste privilege, all of these that are not as visible. Constantly keep if it is possible, engage with people who don't have the same privileges as you and try and truly understand. And by this I don't mean go and talk to them, talk at them or preach to them, but sit down and say, I want to hear, I want to know what you're facing, and in what way, what do I have that I'm not even aware of. I think there's a lot that can come from there, because I also see a lot of very well-intentioned privileged people, and it's possible I'm part of that also. We are doing a lot thinking samaj sudhar karenge, but in the process we are either talking over somebody with less privilege. So that's where the concept of pass the mic comes. Don't co-opt somebody else's story. So it would be very very bad if, for instance, I wrote something about a gay man's story, coming out story, because I am not a gay man. I can never truly understand what it is to live that life. And what would have been better would have been for me to maybe boost someone and try and get them and say, okay, if you're able to write, I can help you, and I can connect you to Simar and Anirez, and possibly. I mean, that's just an example,
Yeah,
and that's a very
definitely.
small example. So
Sounds good. Awesome. I think we've also answered most of the questions. In the end, do you have anything to say, a message you want to give? You want to tell people your social handles where they can follow you, look out for more of your work, and yeah.
I think everyone who's here, I'm hoping that you're all interested in poetry. I had a few questions come to me also saying how can we work with Anirez and things like that. I'm going to leave it to Simar to answer that, but I will say please keep writing, and wherever you are in the world, find an open mic, find a space where there are people like you, because there will be people like you. There are other writers, there are other people with an interest in performing, bringing out narratives to the world. Please do it. That is how Anirez started, because I was there at the birth of Anirez. That is how I started as a writer. The world needs your story. We need to hear more stories. Feminism is personally really, really important to me. So I'm very happy if you watch this video and it's making you at least consider it, even if you don't agree with me, with us. Please at least think about it. So thank you if you watched it, even if you disagreed. And my handles are Idea Smithy everywhere. That's IDEASMITHY. That's on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this, Ramya, and we shall see you guys soon. Bye. Awesome.
Oh, that went